Hello guys, how's it going? Now we will be looking at the second part of the tutorial on how to render lists in 2025. What we shared on the first video is something really basic on how to update a whole query of records if there's a change on one of them or if there's any changes, on the database. Now, in most cases, you will be using pagination under the query of your records. So we will show an example on how to update each record. It doesn't matter which page, and how to reflect that on your front end. It's super simple. So first of all, we're just going to update our query here, where I added the pagination inside the output. I enable. If you go to here to the settings, you can enable pagination. I enable that. I have also changed my front ends, really basic. I'm not adding, which page we are, how many items we have, even though it's just setting a text there. Super simple. I won't be doing that right now. We just have some pagination. We have set to have 6 records per page. I will also want to make sure that we have 3 columns here. Okay, awesome. And inside Wized, I have changed slightly how we are rendering things. So instead of saying rendering, this list with r.people.data, now as the data coming from Xano is different because now we have metadata, they push the items inside the array inside this object or inside this field called items. So now we have added the items, the path, also inside the name, so we can render the names. That's what we have done. Now, how do we update this, right? We're going to go to our table here inside people, and now whenever there is an update on our records, we have the trigger, right? Well, we have the update here whenever there's a new record. Here, let me just check. New record. Let's check the settings here. So whenever there's an insert, update, or delete. Now, we want to change this. We want to change this logic. We want to set up this logic whenever there is an update. Whenever there's an update, we want to trigger this. So whenever there is an update on our table, what we want to do is pretty straightforward. So instead of querying all the records here, we don't want to do that anymore. To the event, what we want to do is we want to the data, instead of people, we want to send. We can send something like this. Let's create a variable here. So we create a structure for it. Let's say data. Let's call it data. Let's create an object. We're going to set a couple of things here. The first one will be old item ID. I'm just going to pass the ID. We don't need the whole element. Sometimes, you won't have always the same structure because inside old, you will get all of the records, all of the fields inside your record, all the fields inside your record. We just want the ID to reference the old item and replace it with a new one. So this will be old.id. Obviously, you need to make sure that you have a record or a field called ID inside your record. I know we have a field called ID, so I'm just going to let it set it that way. And then we will also set a new called new item, and then we will pass the new object. Awesome. Perfect. And then we will pass this inside here. Data. Perfect. We'll publish this. We'll go here into settings, edit that record. Perfect. We will publish this. And now let's set the event inside our front end. So we're going to use ChatGPT for this. I want you guys to use always ChatGPT in order to find the best performance for the web apps that you guys build. So this is going to be the scenario. We have an array, right? We have an array like this right now. So if I go to item, we have returned this information. Let me see if I can copy all of this. We have an array like this. And I want to find the index of the element with a specific ID, and then replace that element with a new one. What's the best solution with JavaScript to have the best performance? We have an array like this. Okay, let's see what we get. So first we want to find the index and then replace the object at the index with a new object. So okay, perfect. This is best performance using find index and splice. Okay, awesome. So we have another option with that is not as efficient as the first one. So we're going to copy the first option. And now, if you guys saw the first tutorial, you guys will need to watch that first. We have, here we're calling the channel that we subscribe to. And now I have removed what we did. So now I just call the new console log called item updated, or data from Xano. Just going to like the data from Xano. So we're just going to pass this right here, and I'm going to comment all of these for now. Oh my god, I should have commented everything from here. Okay, we're just going to comment all of these for now, but I want to see what data we're getting from Xano here. So let's just we don't even need to publish here. Let's just refresh the page. Let's go to inspect. Here, let's look at our console. Let's clear this console. We always get error from Wized whenever we're developing things here. So now let's go into our table. Let's go to people. Let's update Roberta Rice too. So if we go to our console, as you can see, we got the structure that we set, new item and the old item ID. Perfect. So we're going to just replace this information with what we have with the code that ChatGPT gave us. So now let's close that. So we know the structure now. So ID to find. So the ID to find is going to be the path that we created here in our trigger. So let's go back again. I know what path we created, but let's just make sure that we have it. So alt item ID. So we're going to go here. So we're going to replace this with message that payload that data that alt item ID. And we have the new item here. It's going to be almost the same, but the path is different. It's called, the path that we set is called new item. New underscore item, perfect. And then the array is going to be r.people.data.items, because that's the new array as we are paginating items, where we find the item and then we are replacing that array right here. Perfect. Let me just clear this slide a little bit. We can prettify the code here. Okay, great. And that should be it. We should be updating records right away. And this, this works for, any pagination. Now, it will be cool to create a logic, like whenever there's a new item on our pagination, but obviously we need to be on the last page. Obviously, this will be based on how you set your sort, but it will be cool to have a third part tutorial where we also show the new records here and on the last page of our pagination. That'll be pretty cool. We need to just create a some extra logic there, but it's pretty straightforward as well. And obviously we need to create a new trigger there where that new trigger doesn't affect this one. So yeah, let's see if this works properly. So let's just refresh the page. Okay, Alice Roberts. Do we have a specific pagination here? I just want to make sure that if we have a specific pagination here, site people, output, sorting. Let's just add a sort where we have the created at ascending, so it's from the oldest one to the newest. Okay, perfect. Now we are going to update Roberta Rice with Roberta Rice 2 with Roberta Rice only. So first, for example, and something didn't work as expected. Let's take a look to our console. Let's take a look to our data to see if, okay, because it passed properly the information, but somehow it didn't update the data from here. Oh, I see why. That items, we forgot to add that items right here because this wasn't an array. So let's refresh this. Now let's fix it. Roberta Rice, update it. So it worked perfectly. Cool. So now this is, this works with a better performance because now we are not querying all the records, in our trigger. Now we are just replacing the item that is being updated. So this definitely improves the performance on how we are updating records on our front end, because we are only passing the record that was updated and we're just replacing that record specifically instead of querying all of the records at once. So I hope you guys like this tutorial and I hope it works for you and you use it in all your projects pretty much, as long as obviously you require real time. But I guess, in 2025, every release that you render should have live updates. So your user don't need to, reload the page in order to see those updates on their front end.